Hi, this is Dave. Welcome to Dave's Radio Shack. This video is a little departure from my usual ham radio related stuff, but it's something that's kind of near and dear to me in that it involves the recreation of a film that I was part of making about 50 years ago when I was in 6th grade at Wainwright Elementary in Fircrest, Washington. Our teacher, Mr. Hill, had been given an 8mm camera, and he brought it to school so that we could all experiment with making movies. We started with stop animation cartoons where we drew all of the picture cells ourselves and colored them. And Mr. Hill then used his camera to assemble them into action motion so that we could see our own cartoons play. And after we had done that, he decided that it would be fun to create a full-length feature film. So we set about putting together a story kind of as a group. I think Mr. Hill had most of the ideas. I don't really remember where the story came from, but we worked as a group and put a whole movie together. We created the dialogue. Even though it was a silent movie, we still had to build the story. Then we set about filming it, and Mr. Hill put it all together into a continuous film from all of the individual reels. He spliced it all together, and we had a lot of fun watching it in 6th grade. Big popcorn party movie afternoon kind of a thing as a parting shot before we all went on to junior high school and beyond. The film kind of languished for a lot of years, and it ended up with one of the students himself, Dwight, the blonde kid that's in the film. He had the film for a good number of years, and in the early 1990s, I got the film from him, and I put it on to watch it, and it was pretty boring to watch because it was silent, and I did have a projector, but it wasn't really the magic that it had been 20-some years earlier when we were in 6th grade. So it languished again until about 10 years ago. I was having some other materials transcribed to a digital format, and I thought, well, I'll throw that film in and look at it again digitally. Unfortunately, it had deteriorated quite a lot in that the film had broken. The plastic acetate of the film had broken in quite a few places. And so the person putting it all back together again at the transfer lab got it all mixed up in all kinds of goofy order. And I went to watch the video. It was pretty difficult to watch because it was all out of order and really couldn't tell the story anymore. So it basically sat for another 10 years until just a few months ago when I found that original file and thought, well, I'll give it a shot now that software is so much more improved. So I spent quite a few hours sorting out all of the clips and putting them all back into the correct order. And then I built up dialogue cards. I refigured out how the story goes because I didn't really remember what the full storyline was. And using modern software makes it a lot easier to do things that would have been hard to do even 10 years ago. So I was able to add a soundtrack and do some sound effects, kind of like Foley Sound, where I fill in sounds that you see happen but weren't actually recorded on the film. It's still a silent film, but all filled in now with dialogue cards that sort of tell you what the story is as it goes along. And then I used music to kind of highlight that whole effect and make it more interesting to watch. After the feature film, there's a bonus feature section that has all of the cartoons, the 3 cartoons we put together, plus another short time-lapse video that we put together of all of us out on the playground doing stop animation ourselves with our own bodies moving around the field, kind of like the Beatles did in the movie Help, I think it was. Mr. Hill was a fan of the Beatles, and I think he was trying to create that same sort of an effect. So I hope you enjoy watching it. Put a lot of effort into restoring it and getting it back and getting it onto YouTube to where people can see it now going forward. And hopefully I'll be able to find my old friends and schoolmates from way back then, and they'll be able to see this film again as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Watch it all the way to the end. Be sure to put some comments down below what you think about it and what your favorite parts are. So thanks for watching. This is Dave, Dave's Radio Shack.
Thank you.